This is your moment of decision. Are you going to keep living this way with all of this knowledge because it feels right, but it's keeping you on Struggle Island? Or are you going to admit that what feels right hasn't been working? Because until you do that, nothing changes. And I want you to be filled with hope right now, because this is something I never knew when I was stuck and I was on Struggle Island. There is another way. There is a place, and I know it because even now at 53, in menopause, I'm the smallest size I have been as an adult. And I want you to see that you go from being on Struggle Island to Freedom Island, where your transformation is, where you have, on Struggle Island, you've conformed to patterns. But here on Transformation Island, you've identified those wrong patterns. You've renewed your mind. You've experienced your transformation. You've become the version of yourself who has lost the weight. And you live on Freedom Island. And here on Freedom Island, you don't keep starting over. You don't constantly negotiate with yourself. You don't rely on willpower. You don't wait for motivation. You don't constantly need inspiration. You're no longer led by your flesh. You don't need to feel like doing something because you've been made stronger in the journey from Struggle Island to Freedom Island. When you live on Freedom Island, willpower, you don't rely on it. There's no more self-reliance to hold everything together. When you live on Freedom Island, this is where the weight comes off and it stays off. And it's not because you force it, but it's because on the way to Freedom Island, you became somebody new. You became somebody new who could live on Freedom Island. You became the version of yourself who lost the weight. But you don't get there by learning more, by gathering all of the information, all of the head knowledge about weight loss that the world keeps teaching you. No, you go to the Word of God. You do the studies that you need to do. And you get to Freedom Island through wisdom. You get there through surrender. You get there through learning how to stop leaning on your own understanding and start following God in all of your decisions so you can actually do what the Word of God tells you to do, which is to be Spirit-led. And this is where most women completely miss it, because most women are searching for just weight loss. They're trying to answer the question, what do I need to do to lose the weight? Why can't I lose the weight? How do I lose the weight? But what you actually need, and that's what this masterclass is all about, is to ask yourself a stronger question. How do I become the woman who can lose the weight and keep it off so that you can live on Freedom Island? Because that's what you want. You don't want just another temporary result. You want transformation. You want freedom. You want to move on to Freedom Island and stay there. No longer be the woman who can lose 40 pounds but can't keep it off. You want freedom. And that freedom is going to require transformation. And that is exactly why the Lord had me create a Christian life coaching for weight loss program called the Seeker's Method. Because I lived this. I was the woman who knew everything, and I still wasn't free. And I was imprisoned on Struggle Island. I had all of the information, but I didn't have the transformation. I didn't know how to become the woman who lost the weight.